Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today I'm going to answer a question that I've actually been avoiding for, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months. So that question of course is, what's up with the pigs? We came to Red Tool House because of all the pig stuff, and we haven't seen much lately. So let me dive into that and explain what's going on here and why we're getting less and less pigs at Red Tool House. So for 13 plus years, we have been raising pigs here at Red Tool House in the woods, in our small pastures that we create. And that's actually why I started the channel many years ago, was just to introduce our local customer base to the concept of pastured pigs, because there was a lot of ignorance, for lack of a better term. People didn't understand, what do you mean by pastured pig, and why is that better than pork that we can get at the supermarket? So that was the whole point in starting the channel, was just to show, well, here's what a pastured pig looks like, here's its lifestyle, quality, all that type of stuff. So fast forward years and years later, and the channel obviously has evolved into addressing all kinds of things, from homesteading to project building to off-grid type things, sawmilling. Of course, we're so fractured, we thought, well, we got to try to categorize some things, so that's why we started the new woodworking channel to handle sawmilling and everything involved with wood. But that comes back to the questions like, what's going on with the pigs? Why don't you have as much footage about pigs? So there's really no smoking gun as to why we've slacked off on talking about pigs on the channel, other than to say that it's really been a frustrating year, probably the last 2 years. With this genetics of large black Tamworth cross, we started out really good, had great litters from them, and then something happened, and it has to be some sort of farrowing disease. We've done everything. We've done all the vaccinations. We've tried different things other than taking dead piglets and shipping them off to have them tested. We've kind of exhausted our situation there. So the last farrowing we have, didn't even talk about it really. It wasn't even much of a farrowing. There was actually only one out of the two sows. We had only one hit the ground that was viable, and it just lasted a couple days. So like, okay, that's it. So that's when I decided this year we're just going to let it run its course. And this wintertime, when we freed up freezer space, we're going to get rid of everything. So that's where we are right now here in fall of 2024. We only have 3 pigs on the property, and that is Mongo, Pepper, and Noel. They're the only 3 left. Dan is gone, and Merida, who we've had for over 9 years, she became kind of a pet, she's gone. And you may say, oh my goodness, why in the world did you get rid of Merida after 9 years? Well, quite honestly, she was getting old, and old was showing up in issues with really bad arthritis in the front, what I assume to be arthritis in the front legs. In fact, she could not extend her trotters enough to put her back, her dew claws, her back toes down on the ground. So it was always like she was tiptoeing, and that was causing a lot of discomfort for her. And in fact, if you go back and see some of the videos that we've done, she actually would have to get down on her knees to eat from the bowl, because she just couldn't, with that type of stance, she just couldn't eat into a bowl. So she was just in a lot of discomfort. I could tell she's moving slow. She was hanging out in the back pasture with Dan. Dan would ride her every time she come into cycle. So like every 21 days, we've got an issue here where she's having to deal with him. So we did not process Merida, however, because I didn't feel, you may think it's weird, but I had such a connection with her. I just kind of thought, well, I'm not going to eat her. I'm just going to give her a good life. She's going to have that one bad day, and now she's got a pretty awesome view on the top of the ridge. So I'll let you guys figure out what that means, and I'm not going to get any more details of that because that'll freak some people out, I'm sure. But she died with a full belly, died in her happy place, so I think everything was as good as it could be in that situation. These 3 turkeys, however, are going to catch the next trailer to processing once we get a little more freezer space freed up and we get a little later in the fall. Actually, I want to finish the round of pig feed that I have in stock, so I want to round that out, and we'll take the 3 of them for processing. I thought about trying to do that here on farm, but as big as they are, I just don't have the equipment to handle pigs that big. So we'll see. That'll be an expense. And you may think, well, kind of old, what are you going to do with them? Well, probably just do a lot of grind, So we'll do some ground pork, we'll do sausage, we'll do different types of things that get stuffed, ground and stuff. So bratwursts and sausage links and those type of things. And of course bacon. I always, even out of the big hogs, the bacon still turns out great. So I wanted to take this opportunity to thank our video sponsor, and that's Sunnyfield. And they have a camp chair. And if you guys have been with the channel long enough, you know that I've been searching for the ultimate camp chair. I just can't seem to find it. And this one's getting pretty darn close. And that's why I agreed to do this discussion with them. So first of all, with Sunnyfield is obviously very compact, very portable. That's one thing I like. We've got chairs that we just leave up at camp because it's just a pain in the butt to bring them back and forth. But now we're down here, it's like, well, we don't have any good camp chairs when we just want to hang out or do a campfire here at the house. With this Sunnyfield, it is super compact, but it is stout. This chair weighs, if I had to guess, I'd say about 15, 20 pounds. And it unfolds pretty easy. There you've got a nice sturdy chair. And what I like about these chairs, some of the other camp chairs that have the high back and they have a deeper saddle, you fall into them, and if you're there for long enough, it's like it cuts off the circulation in the back of your thighs, and then your feet fall asleep. With this, it's much more rigid and kind of feels more like a regular chair, like you'd have a lawn chair. So of course on both sides it has some accessories. I really like the extra pouches, pockets and things. So put my phone in here if I need that. What I really like is I can put my pipe accoutrement in here. So a couple bags of tobacco, a couple pipes, lighters, all that. Got it right there by my side. On the other side, this side, you've got a fold-out table that locks into place with a cup holder, and Kelly jumped all over this. The cup holder even has a little mug handle slot, so her confounded coffee ends up in that all the time. But it's quite sturdy and allows me to put some other things there. So the sturdiness of the chair and the comfort of it is what has got my attention. And really happy with the build. It's not cheaply made. It's pretty rigid. Seems to be good canvas material. And again, the way it breaks down so easy and goes into this carrying pouch just makes a lot of sense. Makes it super simple for us. So I think, as of right now, this is my favorite camp chair that I've experienced so far. So I'll put a link below to this product. Check it out. But if you're looking for a camp chair and you need something portable, check out Sunnyfield. They're really doubling down on the portability of a sturdy camp chair. In fact, their tagline is anywhere Sunnyfield. So a lot of portability options with their products. All right, let's get back to work. So you may be wondering, oh, okay, Troy, so what does that mean? Is Red Toolhouse now done with pigs forever? And the answer to that is no. We're going to take the winter off, but we're going to actually kind of ramp back up in the spring, but we're going to do feeders for at least one season. We may even do 2 seasons of just feeders. Because I really like taking the fall, winter time off to be able to build up infrastructure, clear more pasture, get into more silvopasture type stuff. There's some videos coming soon about that. Really try to build up this area, and having that time off where I'm not managing pigs, trying to sell pigs, trying to feed pigs, then that gives me a little more ability to manage some of these other things. So, of course, we are going to document what we bring on the farm and actually what we search. So with the Pasture Pig podcast, obviously I've talked to a lot of great producers all across the country. So be reaching out to some of those and just getting some ideas. Not quite sure where we're going to go. Are we going to go with a certain line of genetics, a certain breed, or are we going to do multi-breed? Are we going to do some experimentation with continue with rotational woodlot, deep litter? There's all kinds of things that are going through my head, and I haven't settled on any of those yet. I know I still got some time. And as far as the number of pigs, I'm not sure about that either. Kelly and I have been toying with just going with kind of like a homestead number, just maybe 3 or 4 pigs just for our own personal consumption, or doing more and selling off some to help offset feed costs. We'll see. There's pros and cons to both, and I like the idea of a smaller size amount of pigs so I can look at exploring some of these more regenerative or sustainable models where we're not having so much feed input, and do some more of the silvopasture type stuff. So we'll see. Again, obviously I don't have the answers yet because I don't even know, but that's what kind of excites me, is there's so many potential opportunities here if we start from scratch. So one thing I've learned with having a boar, having actually at one point had 3 boars, which is way too many. My opinion on having a boar, not having a boar, AI, those type of things. Again, the next year we're just going to do feeders. Probably not going to worry about farrowing on property. But my takeaway is there's still pros and cons for the boar. This boar, if it was just this boar standalone, feed costs for Mongo about $292 a year is what I've calculated. That's with the price of feed, the amount of feed he gets a day. Now, granted, sometimes he knocks the ladies around and has a little bit more of their feed. But looking about that, I think it's about 80 cents a day is what I'm calculating. So not a huge expense. And when you put that against AI, see, you hateful little thing. When you put that against AI and say, well, one good triple batch dose of AI for one sow is going to be about that price. It's going to be about $300, or there's other ways to get it cheaper, of course. So it's really a push for us. Now, when we have 2 boars, that gets a little crazy. 3 boars is absolutely ridiculous. Really should have never had the 2 boars hanging out as long as I did, but it is what it is. But I think if we do get into farrowing, we'll probably go back to AI. I really enjoyed the freedom that I had with AI and choosing genetics, but also in choosing breed times. Moving these hogs around, these boars around different paddocks and allowing them to breed when I wanted them to and when it didn't was a little bit more daunting than I originally anticipated. It requires better infrastructure, more gates, more chutes, more runs. And I just don't have that situation on this type of topography. That's one challenge that I do have. So it wasn't an opportunity to really take advantage of that. So it was a lot more labor intensive to move them around. So with AI, I get to choose, okay, which cycle we're going to breed and hopefully have piglets on the ground at this time. And of course, I don't have to feed a little squeeze bottle straw. So another thing I hope to do with this time off is just rebuild my infrastructure here. Our fences, there's some places where I still have 17 gauge wire that I'm trying to replace all with 14 gauge because whitetail break it constantly. There's probably 7 repairs right here where the pigs are eating, where whitetail come up this and just blast right through it. Our corral inside of the barn here is that corral. I'm hoping I've got one more load management to be able to do with that before before you stick your hand through the boards. Maybe pushing my luck there, but hopefully get one more load out of that, and we'll tear all those boards down and redo that. I actually want to get in there and pour some concrete. And it's not that the pigs are going to be hanging out on concrete all the time. It's just when it comes time to loading, it's nicer when there's concrete because it just becomes such a muddy mess there. So I want to put a little bit more infrastructure there, better gate systems, more water management, water catchment, get the farrowing barn lined out a little bit more. So there's just a lot of things in my mind I think I'll get taken care of in this time off. So we'll see if that's the case. So you may be thinking, well, Troy, it sounds like you're not going to have any pig videos for quite a few months, and that's kind of why I hang out here is to listen to about pigs. And I'm going to say, well, that's not true, because actually what I want to do with this time off is kind of go back to the basics, kind of go back to Piggery 101, talk about the potentials, talk about the things we're researching, coming back around, testing my infrastructure, double checking why my fence energizers are running a certain way, all those type of things. So really want to take this time to say, while there's no pigs on the property, let's act like we're starting from scratch again. And I think those of you all that maybe are in that area where you're just getting started with pigs, or you're thinking about it, or maybe you've stumbled across this channel recently, maybe that'll be helpful for you. I know it'll be helpful for me as I do this reboot and kind of reorganize my mind a bit. Things that I've taken for granted for years and years now, maybe come at it with a new perspective. And we definitely want to document that on the channel. And of course, if we visit other farms, checking out their setups, if we have that opportunity, then we'll, of course, bring you guys along so you can see what we're seeing. So I encourage you, stick around. Obviously, we'll still be talking pigs all the time on the Pastured Pig podcast. We've got that, an audio version, and we've just added a new video version of that. It's interview style, but a lot of good interviews coming up, a lot of good discussions coming up. And the video element of that, I think, will make those interviews even more compelling and more interesting. So I encourage you to stick around with us on the channel, hang out, and we'll still keep talking pigs. And I'm excited to see what 2025 has for us. Well, I pray everyone have a great week. Thank you so much for watching.